Vectrex video game system. Released in 1982, the Vectrex system was one of the most unique game systems to ever be created. The system came with its own monitor and a controller designed to sit inside the casing, making the system very portable. Perhaps not by DS or PSP standards, but still easy enough to move from place to place. In addition to having its own built-in monitor, what made this system unique was what type of monitor it used. The system used a vector monitor which would display lines on the screen from point to point, making it very easy for the system to create many dynamic 2D shapes that could spin and scale while always looking crisp, something that the other home machines could only dream about at the time. Vector game machines were nothing new to the arcade, however. Some of the most popular games to use them include Asteroids, Tempest, and Star Wars Arcade. What was new was that the Vectrex was able to faithfully reproduce the look and feel of these high-end arcade machines in the home, which at the time was a big deal. Home game systems were always quite behind their arcade counterparts, so when the Vectrex came along, it was quite amazing to see it come so close to bringing that true arcade feeling home. One of the downsides of the Vectrex monitor was that it could only create black and white imagery. Even for 1982, this was a huge drawback. People were used to gaming in color, so to combat this, they created color overlays for the system. While not quite as good as having a true color vector monitor, it did do a good job of making the games all have a different feel. These overlays also acted like arcade marquees that gave the exterior of the system itself a great look. The controller on the Vectrex is a mixed bag of good and bad. Part of the design needed to keep the controller in the case, which would mean that the joystick could only be so tall. Because of this, there wasn't really a comfortable way of holding the stick. The stick was also analog and not digital, which would have made a lot more sense if there were more than a couple of games that used the analog functionality. Sadly, most of the games would have been a lot easier to play with a regular digital pad. On the good side, the controller had 4 buttons that were very much like that of an arcade machine. The buttons were large and facing upwards, making it easy to use them all in the heat of gaming. The build quality of the controllers were also very high, though the analog sticks have been known to fail over time with rough usage. Another amazing aspect of the system was the game audio. This area of the Vectrex was also very much ahead of anything else at the time. The Vectrex could produce some of the same audio sounds found in the arcade. When you shot the mines in Mindstorm, well, it just felt right. One of the downsides to the audio of the system was that due to some lack of shielding, you would hear the monitor working through the speaker. After a while, you wouldn't really notice, but it was an unfortunate oversight. My history with the machine was that of amazement. Having owned or played every game system before it, when I got my own Vectrex machine, I didn't stop playing it for days. And I'm being serious, I mean days with no sleep. I just couldn't believe that I was playing something so close to what I would find in an arcade right there in my bedroom. And while it's true this may not be the most easy thing to carry, I brought mine everywhere with me. All in all, the Vectrex is one of my favorite machines. To this day, there is nothing like playing on a real vector monitor. Even the latest and greatest gaming consoles and PCs can't reproduce the true vector experience, and this truly makes the Vectrex gaming system timeless.